Is a $150 fine actually fair? If it costs a CEO nothing but leaves another person unable to pay rent? In this video, I explore why New Zealand's current fine system prioritizes administrative convenience over genuine justice, and a simple solution that could change everything. New Zealand currently operates under a liberal, bureaucratic model where flat rate fines are issued regardless of an individual's wealth. This creates a massive disparity in how punishment is felt. What do you think? We deep dive into the problem, why flat fines are a toll for the rich but a threat to survival for the poor. The solution? How the day fine system used in Finland, Germany and Sweden works by separating crime gravity from offender wealth. The blueprint. A 4-step path for New Zealand to implement an income-adjusted Unified Infringement Act using existing IDI technology.
Have you ever really stopped to think about what makes a fine, fair? I mean, is a $100 speeding ticket really the same punishment for everyone who gets one? In this explainer, we're going to dive deep into New Zealand's justice system to ask that exact question. You'll see how one single fine can create two totally different worlds. Okay, just look at this. It's one standard $150 fine. Now, for a wealthy CEO, it's nothing. It's a minor toll and annoying piece of admin. But for someone who's currently unemployed, that exact same amount can be a genuine, serious threat to their survival. We're talking about the difference between paying rent or not, buying groceries or not, and that's the core of the problem right there. One fine, two completely different worlds.
So how did we get here? Why is it like this? Well, New Zealand's system is basically what experts call a liberal, bureaucratic model. And that's just a fancy way of saying its main goal isn't really justice, it's efficiency. The whole thing is designed to process a massive number of small offenses as quickly and cheaply as possible. And what that means is that judges are legally locked in. They have to issue the exact same dollar amount, whether you're a billionaire or you've got absolutely nothing in the bank.
And this whole situation completely ignores a really crucial idea called subjective uniformity. The concept is actually super simple, but it's powerful. For justice to be truly fair, the punishment has to be felt equally by everyone. A fine should sting a little, sure, but it should never, ever be devastating. And a flat, fixed fine system? It just can't do that. It's impossible.
But what if there was a better way? Well, there is, and it's already being used successfully all around the world. It's called the day fine system, and it offers a much, much fairer way to handle fines. The genius of the day fine system is that it gets right to the heart of the problem by separating two key things. First, it looks at how serious the crime actually is, and second, it looks at how much the person who committed the crime can actually afford to pay. It's all about making the punishment fit the person, not just the offense on the ticket. So how does it work? It's actually a pretty straightforward two-step process. First, the court decides how serious the offense is and gives it a score in fine units. So let's say a certain speeding violation is worth 10 units. Then, for step 2, the system calculates the offender's daily income. The total fine? You just multiply one number by the other. It's simple, it's scalable, and most importantly, it's fair.
And look, this isn't just some abstract theory. This is a proven, real-world system. So let's take a quick trip to Europe and see how some countries have been using this for decades to deliver a much more equitable kind of justice. 112,000 euros. No, that is not a typo. That was a single speeding fine given to a wealthy businessman over in Finland. This just powerfully shows you what happens when a fine is actually proportional to what someone earns. It makes the law matter to absolutely everyone, no matter how rich or poor you are.
Let's dig into Finland's model a bit, because they've had this since 1921. It's incredibly smart. They base the fine not on your total income, but on your daily disposable income. They even deduct a basic living allowance and an amount for every child you're supporting. So it protects the most vulnerable people. And what about someone with no income at all? Well, the fine drops to a minimum of just 6 euros.
But here's the kicker. At the other end of the scale, there is no maximum cap. And that's how you get those huge headline-making fines for the super rich.
And Finland's not the only one. Over in Switzerland, they've handed out fines as high as 300,000 Swiss francs. Sweden and Germany have very similar systems, although Sweden does have a maximum cap to stop the fines from getting too extreme. So you see, each country can tweak it a little, but that core principle of making it proportional always stays the same.
Okay, so could this actually work here in New Zealand? The answer is absolutely yes. There's a really clear and practical 4-step blueprint that could make this whole system a reality.
So here's the roadmap. It all starts with changing the law, then using technology we already have, building in some smart safeguards, and even figuring out how to handle tourists. Let's break down each step real quick.
First things first, New Zealand would need to pass one single unified Infringements Act. This is the legal foundation for the whole thing. It would get rid of all the different fixed dollar fines scattered across our laws and replace them with that fine unit system. This would legally require that a person's ability to pay is always taken into account.
Now, this is the really clever bit. You might be wondering, how would a cop on the side of the road know my income? Well, here's the thing. New Zealand already has the technology to solve this. Stats NZ runs something called the Integrated Data Infrastructure, or IDI, which already links up justice data with tax records. A secure connection would let police get an accurate income calculation instantly, just like they do in Finland. The tech is already here, ready to go.
Of course, balance is key to making a system like this actually work and be accepted. You really need both a floor and a ceiling. A minimum fine makes sure everyone is held accountable, but it does it without causing financial ruin. And on the other side, a maximum cap, like they have in Sweden, makes the whole system politically palatable by preventing truly astronomical fines for minor slip-ups.
Okay, but what about tourists or visitors? That's a fair question. Well, Germany's already figured this one out. You just issue a default fine based on an estimated average income. If that person feels it's unfair, they can fill out a simple form, a statement of means, to declare their actual financial situation and get the fine adjusted. It's a really simple and effective fix.
So, what's the big takeaway here? At the end of the day, this whole conversation isn't just about spreadsheets or new laws. It's really about the kind of justice we want to have in our society.
And we have to come back to this simple truth. A system that punishes a poor person more harshly than a rich person for the exact same mistake, that's not just broken, it's fundamentally unjust. It completely undermines the idea that the law is supposed to apply equally to everyone.
And that really leaves us with one final, pretty powerful question to think about. Our government system is already smart enough to measure our income when it comes to taxes, and it's smart enough to measure it for social support and benefits. So, why does all that logic suddenly disappear when it comes to justice? It's a question worth asking.